Welcome to United Parks as One Wellness Wednesday for December 20th, 2023. Our topic today is occupational wellness. My name is Carla Robinson. I'm the Executive Director of United Parks as One. I'm here again with Hajjah Dena Corbin, the United Parks as One Wellness and Wellbeing Navigator. She's our guide for our wellness journey. Hajjah Dena, we're making our way through the 8 dimensions of wellness. So far, we've looked at spiritual wellness, emotional wellness, physical wellness, community wellness, environmental wellness, and intellectual wellness. Today, we're looking at our next dimension, occupational wellness. Let's get started.
Okay, yes. Good morning or good afternoon or good evening, whenever time you're watching this segment. I want to introduce to you our next speaker, the person that I'm interviewing, Roxana Marroquin, excuse me for that. And I just realized that I don't have a bio on you. So I'm going to speak from what I know about you through meeting you. I think it's been 3 or 4 years. Roxana is she's a herbalist. She's very knowledgeable on herbs. She studied in Brooklyn with a very well-known herbalist. You can tell us who that is when you begin to come and speak. She has a business that I don't know the name of, and she will tell us that as well. But she is an educator. I took a wonderful course with her, and she taught us how to combine herbs and how to make tinctures. And one thing that I really appreciated about that class is that a lot of times we use herbs, but we don't use them properly, and the heat can destroy some of the medicinal value of the herb. She also has a background in art therapy, which she combines that with her passion for growing plants, growing food, and she helps people be able to connect that egopreneurship with passion and earning income. So without further ado, I'm going to ask some questions from Roxana. But before I do that, let me just remind us of the 8 dimensions of wellness. Again, we have spiritual wellness, emotional, physical, community wellness, environmental wellness, intellectual wellness, occupational wellness is where we are right now. And I am excited. Roxana is phenomenal. You're going to learn so much from her. So the first question, and before I start, Roxana, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to ask you the first question.
Sure. Thank you, Dena. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
You did a wonderful job with introducing
Oh,
me.
thank you. Thank you.
So not much to add other than the name of my herbal products and business is Agua de Jade. And so I studied with Karen Rose from Sacred Vibes Apothecary in Brooklyn, as you mentioned, about 7 years ago. And ever since then, I have been combining what I've learned from Karen about herbs with what I've learned from my graduate program of art therapy, as well as through my community involvement with community gardens. So there isn't one field that encompasses all. So I'm kind of developing and meshing and creating something that is unique and something that was birthed out of just all these different passions and things that were coming into my life. So that's my intro. That's my bio. I appreciate you. You already said everything.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so the first question is, what is occupational wellness and what does it look like?
So occupational wellness, the way that I defined it is finding fulfillment in what you do with your time, what you may do for a living, how you contribute your talents, your skills into the world. And it means doing a job, and we spend 1/3 of our day doing a regular 9 to 5, right? Just going to work, getting paid, and you can easily be happy and fulfilled doing that. And yeah, occupational wellness means finding fulfillment, but also being paid for doing what you do, what you're good at, what you love, and what is naturally, innately coming out of you. So that is how I define occupational wellness. To me, it looks like I mentioned in my introduction, it means paving my own path, creating a unique way of showing up into the world day after day, and being able to make a living out of it.
Yeah, and you said a key phrase, fulfillment, right? Being fulfilled. Thank you so much for that. And the next question what are some mindsets or approaches that can help with occupational wellness?
Yeah, so one approach for me has been not just for the work that I do, but when I work with other people as a therapist or as an herbalist, I'm constantly asking folks, what are you good at? And what were you good at when you were a kid? So one approach is thinking back when you were a child and trying to remember what were the games that you used to play, what were the things that made you happy. I'll use myself as an example. When I think of when I was a child, like my very first memories from school, one of the main projects that stands out to me is collecting leaves and identifying them. And I grew up the different things, but I always came back to the leaves, the herbs, the plants. So I believe that we're all born with something that we're naturally drawn to. And if we could go back to the earliest days in our minds, we will find what was it that we gravitated towards, what was it that called us, what brought us the most joy. And I think that's one mindset, thinking about okay, so what brings me joy and that I'm good at is what I'm probably going to make a pretty good living in, because because it's a natural talent, because you're going to be more passionate about it. You're going to be called to study it. For example, I believe that I'm never done learning. I'm always learning. I'm always gaining new information. I'm always seeking that information. But it's based on what I'm interested in. I could not imagine spending every single day, every waking moment, doing something that I wouldn't be interested in, because I just wouldn't have the mind, the focus for it. So if you follow that, which is your interest, which is your passion, it's going to be easy. And and you'll just it doesn't feel like work. Feels like you're doing what you're born to do, what is your purpose, what is your passion, rather than what you have to wake up to do every morning. So following your joy, following your purpose, and again, thinking back of what were those first early things that you were drawn to? What kind of games you used to play as a child? All those, for me, that's my approach to finding my own occupational wellness, and also supporting others to find their occupational wellness. I think my one question would be, well, what was it that you were really, really into when you were a child? And then starting from there.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Very, very well said. Beautiful picture painted. Thank you so much. How can we find ways to stay well when we're in work situations that make it difficult for us to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we've all found ourselves in one job or one position where there's some struggles, some challenges, right? Even when you're doing what you love, when you're doing your passion, and not everything is easy. So I would say that some of the ways to stay well is to stay adaptable and flexible and fluid with your jobs, with what you're doing for your living, with your occupation, and being adaptable. So changing, if you find yourself in a situation that is not for you, then it's okay to swerve, to steer another way, to pivot and do something different. So I think to be always learning, to be always growing, to be always gaining new skills, are some of the tools that we empower ourselves to remove ourselves from a situation that is difficult. We don't have to be stuck in something. Some people are completely happy, content, and fulfilled doing a job for 40 years. And, if that is their personality, then great. For other people, they might find themselves just changing and moving on to like something completely different. So if something makes you happy today, it doesn't mean that it's going to make you happy tomorrow. So staying adaptable, willing to change, willing to grow. I think that is one way to like approach a difficult situation, knowing that you don't have to stay in it, you don't have to be stuck in it, and that you can always gain new skills, and you should always be learning, and you should always be growing.
Okay. I know when Ms. Carl and I were putting the content together for this, we were talking about, if you have like an outside interest, like let's say you're good at mindfulness and meditation, or you're good at outdoor walks and exploring things, to kind of bring that into the workplace. Like if you're good at yoga, maybe during your lunch break, have a yoga session, with some of the employees, trying to bring some of what makes you happy into a work environment that may not be happy, but bringing some of that in is what do you think that's a good idea as well, to be able to do that? Yeah,
absolutely. Anything that brings you joy and makes you happy, fulfilled, absolutely.
because like you said, it's sharing with other people as well, right? Okay, so question number 4. How can someone turn a skill set they enjoy using into an opportunity to generate income? And this is one of the things you talked about with the program that I just took with you not long ago.
I think I'm sorry, I'm just reading. If you could repeat the question
Okay.
again.
How can someone turn a skill set they enjoy using into an opportunity to generate income?
Yeah, so you can turn a set of skill, but just continuing to do it, to sharpen that skill, to become very good at it, and show up in spaces and do it. Sometimes it starts off by working for free, or for not what you would normally want to get paid, but to just continue to do it, to show up. It gives you the chance to practice, to perfect that skill, to make it better, and also to allow people to see what it is you do. So I believe that you can turn some skills and show the world what you're doing through like you mentioned, that we talked about in the program, through marketing, through networking, through creating dope websites and social media presences, and showing people what you do, being there. So yeah, you perfect your skill and you put it out there into the world, until the world realizes, oh, they'll start to think of you for the particular things you do, especially when they're unique and when they're new skills in the world. Yeah, just by showing up, letting people see what you do, and they'll think of you when they need something. And it begins to generate income as you continue to do it over and over again. So being consistent, being persistent, and showing off, I think, are some ways to turn those skills into profitable income.
Excellent point. Excellent points. And as you said, continue to study, to learn, and to grow. That whatever that skill set is, because things change, over time. So how is occupational wellness related to some of the other dimensions of wellness, such as spiritual, emotional, financial, environmental? How is the occupational wellness related to some of the other places and spaces of the 8 dimensions of wellness?
Occupational wellness, I think, is one of those dimensions that are interweaved in everything we do. It is not a separate thing from from everything, from the spiritual to the emotional. If you are fulfilled with what you do for work, for a living, for an occupation, then you're going to find yourself at peace. You're not going to be struggling with yourself or with, wishing you were doing something else. So your spirit and your emotion are going to be elevated through doing what you're loving. You're also going to have more energy, more stamina, more willingness to go out there and do what you do when you're doing something that you love and that you're good at. So it's completely interweaved in so many different ways. I think through the financial wellness, if you're doing what you love, what you're good, what you were born to do, you're naturally going to be compensated for those skills. So when I think of occupational wellness, I don't think of it as a separate dimension of who we are, but a part of everything that we are. And it's all interweaved together, I think. And also it's when you're happy spiritually, when you're happy physically, when you're happy intellectually, you're going to have more like clarity, more alignment, more space to do what you're supposed to do. So yeah, I think just understanding that it's not a separate thing. Everything goes together, right? We can't compartmentalize one aspect of our being. We have to show up with all of these dimensions. So yeah, I think that's how they're all related.
Thank you. I appreciate that answer very, very much, especially when you mentioned the clarity and alignment, right, through the occupational wellness and how they can incorporate and weave into all of those other wellness spaces. Thank you so, so much. So one last, if you just had one last thing to say to, people watching this replay of occupational wellness, what would you say to them? Like how do you start kind of in the very beginning? I know you talked about looking into your childhood, kind of, figuring out what you like to do, what you did in the past, what your passion is, but how would somebody get started really trying to switch their occupation to something that they love to do?
Yeah, so I believe, and through observation, I think that we're all born with something, right? From the time we're born, we've already been designated with what it is that is going to be our contribution to the world. So when we think of a job, sometimes we just think of like, a job that would help us pay our rent and our bills. But I think switching that mindset to thinking of, okay, a job is my contribution to the world and to my community, to my environment. I think that is one thing that one way to approach our occupational wellness. And it's okay. We grow up, we forget sometimes what it is that we were born to do. It's normal. I think it's part of the human experience to come back to ourselves and rediscover what it is that we were born to do. But to keep digging, to keep searching, and to keep finding, what is it that I was born to do? What is your purpose? I think even sometimes, like I said, we just get lost, we forget, but keep searching, keep looking. You mentioned the program that we did, Dena, the ecopreneurship program, and the way that I start that program very early on in the first or second week, we do a visualization about the seed. So I invite people to like kind of meditate, go in themselves, and try to like dig in and find what is that seed that was planted in me, and continue to water it. It's something that we need to continue to nourish, to keep watering, to like, yeah. So find that seed, think about what is that seed that was planted in me, and what is it that you need to have that seed grow.
Thank you so, so very much. Thank you. So for our next Wellness Wednesday post on January 17th, we'll address financial wellness as we continue our series about the 8 dimensions of wellness. Roxana, I want to thank you so much for your contribution to this series of, getting people to view their wellness through a different lens. And you have certainly provided that for us. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Carla.
invitation.
You're welcome. You're on mute, Miss Carla.
Thank you very much. This session
Hello.
really packed a lot of information into a
Yes.
few minutes. So thank you both for sharing your experiences and your skills and talents with us in this session. And remember, our UPAO Wellness Wednesday posts go up the third Wednesday of each month. Be sure to look for our next post on January 17th. In the meantime, be sure to enjoy yourself outdoors at a park, playground, garden, or other open space. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.